Hi everybody, this is Amrit Maldonado from the Panther team here at Prolifics. Thank you for joining us again. Got a special video here for you all today. I have a guest, Glenn Silverberg, who will be helping me today in my video. Basically, what we'll be doing today is kind of talking about a tutorial video that I released a couple of years ago. And in these tutorial videos, I go through modernizing a Panther client-server application to the web. There are 4 videos in this series of videos. So before every video, we will kind of give a prelude to it, and I'll have Glenn help me talk about, I'll give his opinion on what technology was applied to modernizing each of these screens here. So let's start off, and Glenn, you introduce yourself, Glenn.
Hi, my name is Glenn Silverberg. I'm a senior developer at Prolifics. I've been working on the Panther and Jam before that for about 30 years. So I have a lot of experience helping to develop the product as well as fixing bugs in the product. So I'll help out with this tutorial as best I can.
Thank you, Glenn. Yep, he's been around. He's been around for a bit. Great, and I'm sure lots of you are listening to the videos. This video have somehow the last 30 years got an email for Glenn. Heard some of his great videos on our Panther channel. The next video that is covered here, part 3, I talk about validating fields with JavaScript. All right, so this is a big one, Glenn. As you know, a lot of the validation for your client-server applications are triggered from your back end, well, triggered from the front end, but the logic is written in C and JPL. But with a browser front end, some of the logic will have to be performed in the browser with JavaScript. And how do you decide, Glenn, what needs to be rewritten to run in JavaScript and what stays as JPL?
Well, you would want to offload to the client as much processing as you can for performance reasons. So if a validation can be done on the client side, something as simple as checking to see if the value is a fixed set of comes from the entered values from a fixed set of values that are known in advance, then you can do that on the client side. Or if you want to make sure that what was entered is in all capital letters, you can do that on the client side. Some validations we generate JavaScript by default. When we generate Panther screens from Panther Web, we do generate some validation code by default, and you can use that. It might not be what you want to use. We don't use jQuery, for example. We do everything in just plain JavaScript. You can rewrite your own. You can rewrite some of the ones that we write for you using more sophisticated techniques. But yeah, the general rule is offload any validations you can do on the client to the client and write them in JavaScript. If you can't, then we have the technology to be able to send AJAX requests to the server and dynamically execute your server-side validation code that you've always been using. If this is a migration that you've always been using in your desktop application, so that's all doable.
Right. And yeah, I did not even cover our migration utility that was released last year, because migration utility covers or does automate some of that what you just mentioned. Takes your events, your validation function events, and actually does push those events through AJAX calls in the back end. So folks,
yeah, it generates a lot of the framework sort of code that you would need to get those things done, so that you don't have to write that part of it yourself.
Right.
Okay, on to exercise number 3. With exercise number 3, we are going to validate our fields with JavaScript instead of GPL. All right, and this it's less costly because it's more efficient also because it lessens the trip out to the server for GPL to execute. In addition to adding JavaScript behind the login push button and the reset push button, we are also going to replace HTML file with login3.html. So we'll get some nice JavaScript alert messages as opposed to the messages that appear on the top of the browser. All right, so let's go ahead and click on each of these buttons. I'm going to copy this JavaScript. Again, we're trying to validate these empty fields in JavaScript as opposed to using JPL and have some nice JavaScript alert pop-ups appear. On the reset button, I'm going to copy the JavaScript that should clear the fields. And one more thing I'll have to do is replace login 2 with login 3 and press OK. All right, so let's go back to my browser, reset it. Notice earlier I was getting these messages on top of the browser. Now let me refresh this. Yes. And if I were to press the login button, I get a nice JavaScript alert message box instead of my message on top of the browser. And this will actually reset my fields in JavaScript. All right, and again, let me just show you how I'm actually executing my JavaScript alert box right there. Okay, so that's all I've done here in exercise 3. Thanks for watching our video. If you like the video, please press the like button. If you're viewing our content for the first time, please press the subscribe button. If you have any queries, either post them in the comment section or email us at support@prolifics.com.